नमस्कार, मैं आप सभी का स्वागत करती हूँ। मैं MIC MCM लाइब्रेरी ऑल इंडिया विमेंस कॉन्फ्रेंस, आप सबका आज के इस वेबिनार में स्वागत है। आज चलिए इतिहास के कुछ पन्ने पलटते हैं। यह कोई ऐसा वैसा इतिहास नहीं, यह अखिल भारतीय महिला सम्मेलन का अपनी संस्था का इतिहास है। आप में से कई सदस्यों को याद होगा कि 93 वर्ष पूर्व पुणे में ये संस्था शुरू हुई थी और वहां जब AIWC की पहली सृष्टि हो रही थी तो महारानी चिमनाबाई गायकवाड़ द्वितीय पंचासीन थी। वह AIWC की प्रथम अध्यक्ष के रूप में अपना ओजस्वी भाषण दे रही थी और महिलाओं के मुद्दों को एक एक करके उजागर कर रही थी, जिसमें विशेष रूप से उनकी शिक्षा व सामाजिक हित से जुड़े मुद्दे शामिल थे। आज हम उन्हीं के विषय में चर्चा करने जा रहे हैं। आई वेलकम यू ऑल टू दिस इवनिंग ऑफ अ ग्रेट वेबिनार विच वी आर गोइंग टू हैव नाउ। आज हमारे मध्य 3 विशिष्ट अतिथि हैं जिन्होंने इस विषय पर काम किया है और आज हमारे बीच उपस्थित हैं श्रीमती मंदा हिंगुराव जी, जो बड़ौदा म्यूजियम में कार्यरत है, डॉक्टर सुनीता संतोष बोर्डे जी, जो इतिहास की प्रोफेसर है, तथा श्रीमती सुरक्षा भोंगडे जी, जो इतिहास की रिसर्च स्कॉलर हैं। हम उन सभी का स्वागत करते हैं। यहाँ मुझे लगता है पुस्तकालय के विषय में कुछ जानकारी भी आवश्यक है। जो हेड ऑफिस में लाइब्रेरी है उसकी ऑनररी मेंबर इंचार्ज होने के नाते मैं ये बताना चाहूंगी कि हमने अपने पुस्तकालय में जो अभिलेखागार का निर्माण किया है, आर्काइव्स नाम से जिसे आप जानते हैं, जिसमें हमने AIWC की दुर्लभ अभिलेखों को एकत्रित किया, उनका संरक्षण किया और उन्हें सुरक्षित रखा है। इनमें पुराने दस्तावेज, फोटोग्राफ्स, रिपोर्ट्स, बहुत सारे वीडियोस भी शामिल हैं और मैं आप सभी को आमंत्रित करती हूँ कि अपना समय निकाल कर यह देखें। यहाँ यह भी जानना आवश्यक है कैसे ये आर्काइव्स की शुरुआत कैसे हुई थी। AIWC के हेड ऑफिस में आज से लगभग 7-8 वर्ष पूर्व हमारी परम आदरणीय मिसेस वीना जैन जी, शीला जी, उषा नायर जी, जो उस समय ऑफिस बियरर्स थे, उन्होंने मिलकर इसकी परिकल्पना की तथा प्रोफेसर अपर्णा वासु के साथ मिलकर इस कार्य का शुभारंभ किया था। यहाँ अब 12,000 से ज्यादा पुस्तकें हैं, 2,500 से ज्यादा रिपोर्ट्स हैं, न्यूज़पेपर कटिंग्स आदि अच्छा हमारा संकलन है। एक यहाँ अत्यधिक कुशल लाइब्रेरी स्टाफ है जो इसे ऑर्गेनाइज करके रखा है। हमने इसी के आपको आगे बढ़ाते हुए, लाइब्रेरी के काम को आगे बढ़ाते हुए हमने कैलेंडर भी बनाया इस बार और उसमें भी हमें ऑफिस का सहयोग मिला और आप सभी से अनुरोध है इस अभिलेखागार में अपना योगदान दें, उसको और आगे बढ़ाएं। इससे पहले कि मैं अपनी प्रेसिडेंट मैडम को बुलाऊं, मैं आप सबसे अनुरोध करती हूँ कि जो भी आगे कार्यक्रम होगा उसमें उसके लिए अगर आपके कोई प्रश्न है तो चैट बॉक्स में डालेंगे। और यह भी घोषणा करना चाहती हूँ कि यह कार्यक्रम YouTube पर लाइव है, तो आप इसका वहां भी देख सकते हैं इसको। इस कार्यक्रम के पीछे जिनका हाथ है, अब मैं अपनी प्रेसिडेंट मिसेस शीला काकड़े को उनके प्रेसिडेंशियल एड्रेस के लिए आमंत्रित करना चाहती हूँ। शीला मैडम, प्लीज।
हाँ, मेरा पिक्चर दिख रहा है। तीव्र उत्सुकता से इस वेबिनार में सम्मिलित हुए सभी जनों का मेरा प्यार भरा नमस्कार। सर्वप्रथम हमारी प्रथम अध्यक्षा महारानी चिमनाबाई साहेब के स्मृति को अभिवादन करके हम आज के कार्यक्रम की शुरुआत करते हैं।
અને આ બેટરી ની ચાલુ છે ઓન હા તો મને ખબર
शीला जी
We at AIWC
आज नहीं आ रही
are आवाज नहीं आ रहा?
हाँ ठीक से नहीं आ रही आवाज
We at AIWC are ever grateful to God for giving us legendary dynamic leaders of whom we are always proud. Maharani Chimnabai II, Sardar Bajirao Amrutrao Ghadge of Devas in Madhya Pradesh in 1872 and named Srimati Gajra Devi. She was married to Maharaja Sayajirao Gaikwad III of Baroda, one of the main Maratha states. She will always be remembered for the work done in abolishing Parda system, and she was bold enough to sit with Maharaja that time on same sofa without Parda in public place in Baroda. And secondly, she will be remembered more for abolishing child marriage. Maharani demanded the abolition of child marriage at a conference which was attended by prominent and leading Indian women of the time, including Sarojini Naidu, Mrs. Kamala Devi Chattopadhyay, Rajkumari Amrut Kaur, who became our presidents later on. During lockdown on 23rd May 2020, I got an email from unknown ID. I opened it. It was from Dr. Sunita Bolde. She was inquiring about our first president's inaugural address. I was very excited reading this. I knew that we will definitely have it in our library and research center. It was early morning, so I waited for some time and then called up on the phone number which was given on the email. And we got introduced to each other, Dr. Borde and myself, and from there we moved on. Dr. Borde is writing a book on Maharani Saiba, and she needed the speech for the of our president, her first presidential address, which was done on the inaugural session in 1927 in Ferguson College. At this juncture, I would like to tell Dr. Borde that we have the 5 minutes, we have the files which shows the records of the minutes of 1928 also. I immediately got in touch with our MIC, Dr. Yutika Mishra, who introduced us today now, who was also very happy to receive the news. She in turn told librarian Ranjana, and Ranjana was very quick and very promptly. She could locate whatever I wanted, and she had it in her personal disk, and then she sent it over to me, which I passed on to Dr. Borde. Dr. Borde got my name and email ID from our website. From there, we remained in touch. Yutika ji suggested to me to invite her to our head office for a talk, but the situation of pandemic wouldn't allow it. It may be till near future, it may not be possible. So I was introduced later on to a renowned writer from Maharashtra, Shri Baba Saheb Bhan, who has done lot of work on Maharaja Sayajirao Gaikwad III of Baroda, our president's husband, who was a visionary administrator in real sense. Saw public service as his mission. Bhan Sahib has joined us here today, and I extend my hearty welcome to you, sir. Namaskar. As the days pass, the pandemic situation not improving, and traveling is also not very safe. But this new way of meeting has become very popular Our members are also enjoying it. With efforts of our members, Usha Nair and Kalyani Raj, we are reliving our history through webinar. So I requested Dr. Sunita Borde to join us for talk on webinar on Maharani Chimnabai Gaikwad, our first president. Shri Brown Sahib suggested to me Professor Dinesh Patil's name, who in turn thought of presenting his student, Suraksha Dhonge, who is translating Rani Sahiba's book, Position of Women in Indian Life in Hindi and Marathi. We also have Madam Manda Hingurauji, who is the curator of the museum in Baroda. Now, without wasting any minute, I request Yutika ji to introduce Madam Manda Hingurauji, our first speaker. Thank you.
Dhanyavad Sheila ji. Now we proceed with the program, and as I remarked earlier, we have three distinguished guests with us, and I would like to introduce them to you. And I will request all of you to kindly mute your mics, because there has been a lot of disturbance in me. Just a request, please mute yourselves. And if you have any questions later on, it can be in the chat box. Thank you. Very less time, so we have to have all these things in place. First of all, I'd like to invite Mrs. Manda S. Hingurauji. As you just heard from our president, that she is involved in the work of collecting all the source material in the museum. She's working as a curator and secretary at Maharaja Fateh Singh Museum Trust since 2000. And has been heading the Lakshmi Vilas Palace documentation and record project. She has also been into a lot of educational and cultural activities in the Maharaja Sayaji Rao Gaikwad publication committee of the government, Maharashtra government, and has always been the organizing secretary of Shri Sayaji Smarak Samiti at Vadodara. इन्होंने अनेक पब्लिकेशंस किए हैं अपने मराठी और इंग्लिश की भाषाओं में, और जो some of them are still in the process, and we'll soon have them, and one of them is on Maharani Chimnabai Ji Gaikwad. And she has been writing on women's empowerment. She has curated exhibitions on these topics, like the history of Vadodara and its erstwhile rulers. And she has also done a very interesting activity in terms of organizing essay writing and art competitions, etc. in the state. So it is our pleasure, Mrs. Hingurau, to invite you to speak to us. Please, thank you.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Namaste to everyone.
Namaskar.
The EIW President Sheila ji and all the office bearers, thank you very much. I will start with the background of Maharaja Sayaji Rao, and then we'll go on to Maharani Chimnabai. The history of modern Gujarat in general and Baroda in particular cannot be discussed without a mention of the ruler of Gaikwads, especially that of Maharaja Sayaji Rao Gaikwad III. Of the great galaxy of princes whose names adorn the page of Indian history, Maharaja Sayaji Rao III of Baroda will always occupy a very prominent place. He was an idealist who was determined to mold the lives of his subjects. His endeavor was to obtain the highest standard of life for the greatest possible number of his subjects. It is noteworthy that he was one of the most remarkable men, much ahead of his time. It is rare to find illustrations in history of admirable monarchs like Maharaja Sayaji Rao III, devoted his time and energy for the betterment of his people. In the beginning of 1875, Maharaja Mallar was deposed and Maharaja Sayaji Rao III was adopted from the modest village of Kavlana at the age of 12. He was totally illiterate and was trained by an Irish teacher, F.H. yet. Along with intellectual capabilities and reasoning, ethics, morality, and the principle of life, he was also trained in English language, sports, political economics, the principle of administration, law, revenue, financial administration, military, and settlement. He restored the harmony of the state. It was a phenomenal task. The state treasury was nearly empty. Injustice done to thousands had to be redressed. Confidence in the government and law and order to be re-established. People had to be educated. Crushing burden of taxation had to be reduced. Public welfare had to be undertaken. And above all, personal expenses has to be cut. And so he devoted all his energy towards the prosperity of his people by improving the machinery of administration. The 63 years of his reign were extremely fruitful for Baroda. He made numerous social reforms. The aspiration of reform was innate in him. He insisted on thinking over the matters for himself and personally working over the details of every scheme desirable for Baroda. Sayaji Rao Gaikwad III did not want an outside stimulus to urge him in the direction of reforms. He was determined to make Baroda a thriving modern state. He connected his state with the network of roads and railways. Department of Agriculture was set up to help production of various crops, the fertile soil of Gujarat. Department of Cooperation, Industry and Commerce added banks and cotton industry. The state prospered, but according to Maharaja, wealth was useless without enlightenment. System of free and compulsory primary education was started on an experimental basis in 1882, and Baroda became pioneer in implementing it in the state in 1906. To supplement the primary education, library movement was started in 1910. Maharaja started with a motto of one village, one library. This reached to 62% of circulation. Novel system of the mobile library started helping the villagers. Maharaja outlawed bigamy and child marriages. With many other reforms, dispensaries and hospitals were built. The modern legal system was founded around new codes of law. The core of his rule was to imprint upon stagnant conservatism the value of modern times. He believed that the head of the state were responsible for the intellectual and moral evolution of the people. The Maharaja's outlook towards women was non-traditional. He did not want his women of his state to be timid and submissive. He wanted them to be equal and true partners in the intellectual and spiritual journey of their men. He believed in Kalidas's description of the ideal woman, Gruhini, Sachiv, Sakhi, Mithya, Priyashishya, and in Lalita Kalaviti. He was also convinced of a woman's equal role in building a nation. Maybe he truly was inspired by his adoptive mother, Maharani Jamnabai's courageous spirit, who fought firmly with utmost strength of a fierce woman to protect the state's well-being. Maharaja saw in her an independent woman, and later we surely see Maharaja's wish and efforts to see the same strength in his Maharani. He questioned how, if mothers were kept illiterate, their children would take to learning. That was why he emphasized women's education along with that of men and laid a solid foundation for it during his rule. Maharani Chimnabai too, the second wife of Maharaja Sayaji Rao III, belonged to a very orthodox family hailing from the state of Devas near Indore. She was molded by the Maharaja himself, who had not had the time to educate his first wife due to her early death, to share his passion for reform and set himself to imbue the second Maharani Chimnabai with his views. Not only was there opposition to the education of Maharani Chimnabai from their relatives and the Orthodox Hindus, but the Maharani herself was also initially reluctant to embrace modern ideas. The Maharaja, however, was firm in his views. Nevertheless, after several European trips and transaction of the royal couple with the Western society, the Maharani was convinced with the importance of women education and thus emerged the bold and dynamic wife of Maharaja Sayaji Rao III, sharing with her illustrious husband the zeal for social reforms. upliftment of women and nationalism. The Maharani gradually emerged as a prominent woman leader of India and a great supporter of the women's welfare in the 20th century. With the constant inspiration from Maharaja Sayaji Rao, the 20th century ladies in Hindustan found a capable leader in Maharani Chimnabai, an assertive supporter for the women welfare and a devoted patron. Just as Mahatma Jyotiba Phule, who educated his wife first before he started his women education campaign, Maharaja too decided to start women education from his own home. To set up an example, he decided to educate Maharani. Though Maharani's education started with two lady teachers, Sagunabai Dev and Nandabai Pitare, to teach her Marathi and English respectively, later appointment of foreign companions proved to be more successful, transforming her into a keen and enthusiastic student who learned Marathi, English, Gujarati, Sanskrit, and later on French. Her interest in reading helped her to gain knowledge in various subjects. The Maharaja designed one program after another, which continued for many years. Maharani, combined with her natural advantage of good bold looks and self-assurance, became a thoroughly well-educated and accomplished lady, capable of holding more than her own in any society. She was never content to occupy, as her predecessor had a backward place in her husband's life. The Maharani traveled widely, both in India and abroad. These travels broadened her outlook. She developed interest in music, art, literature, politics, and various sports. She was an excellent hunter and accompanied Maharaja on his hunting exertions. She was also fond of going for hunt on her own and hunted many wild animals, including tigers and cheetahs. Like Maharaja, she also developed keen love for physical exercise. A daily-long walk in the morning was prerequisite. She was a good horse rider, which she had inherited from her family. Her love for tennis brought her to the tennis court every day at 5 o'clock in the evening to play 4 sets continuously. Her receptive mind had learnt and absorbed a great deal during her visit to Europe, America, and also to Eastern countries like Japan. In order to give concrete shape to the basic visionary thoughts for women's rights, equality, and self-reliance, she made great efforts in her state so that Indian women would learn about some Western organization that might be beneficially adapted to the Indian environment. Maharani Chimnabai too was conferred with the title of Imperial Order of Crown in India by the Queen Empress on 3rd August 1892. Maharani Chimnabai too demanded an equal escort as that of the Maharajas as a part of full ceremonial honors. Though her request for a similar amount of escort to the Maharaja was turned down, her attempt to explicitly assert gender equality is plain. This incident truly shows her transformation and her journey from conservative Gajrabai Ghadge to a reformer Maharani of Baroda. Her educational reluctance was transferred into a confident book writer. A special darbar hall was built for her, where she used to hold her own darbar and celebrated festivals like Makar Sankranti, Nag Panchami, Diwali, the naming ceremony of grandchildren and birthdays. Her clear and open views were suitably honored, with Maharani getting designated as the first president of the All India Women's Conference held at Pune in Jan 1927. She served as the president for the National Council for Women in India between 26 to 28 and 30 to 36. The well-being of women was the main issue, which was dear to her heart. She believed that education should match the temperament of women and wanted women to get acquainted with professions like agriculture, art, craft, intellectual occupations, philanthropic work, hotel industry, superintendents, finance, and charitable organizations, for which she urged and encouraged female education in the state and gave regular financial aid to such institutions which were engaged in the work of ameliorating women. Providing scholarship to girls studying in College of Bombay. Her contribution to women progress in the state of Baroda is evident in the various institutions she established, inspired and encouraged. Some of them include Maharani High School for Girls in 1896, Ladies Club, so that she wanted ladies to have a social life with others in 1903, Maharani Chimnabai Maternity and Child Welfare League in 1909, where ladies used to get scientific treatment, medical treatment. Shri Chimnabai Sri Udyogala in 1910 for vocational training of women. There is an interesting story I would like to share with you, that Maharani got the idea and she asked Maharaja for a financial help to establish the institution. Maharani was told by Maharaja, I can't give the state's money often, so you raise your money and I will support it from my personal funds. And Maharani took the challenge. She organized a Mina Bazaar. This is in 1910. She organized a Mina Bazaar in Nyaya Mandir, where the Nyaya Mandir was decorated very nicely. Maula Baksh conducted the band, the royal band, and Maharani raised money from the Mina Bazaar. It was supported by Maharaja and Maharani Halsal, and the vocational training for ladies started in Baroda. Kanya Arogya Mandir in 1915, where self-defense training was given along with normal exercise. Maharani Chimnabai Pathshala in 1923 was established on the lines of Karve University, and Mahila Krida Mandal in 1937, where women referees were trained. A new era seemed to have drawn after Maharani's Europe trip in 1913, where she came out of the train without parda. And in 1914, their highnesses sat together in the Nyaya Mandir Hall at the annual prize distribution of the city's girls' school, when for the first time in her life, Maharani, instead of the Maharaja, gave away the prizes handed to her by the inspector of girls' school. This marked the end of parda system in Baroda. True strength of the person's character is tested in times of adversity. It is true that hard times knocked our doors to test our true courage. It was in Karlsbad in 1914 when Maharani had to face destined hardship, where she was stuck alone without a Maharaja. They were in Austria, which was in close proximity to Germany. During World War II, as Germany was at war with Britain, they considered that since India is British domain, the Maharani is British, therefore she is an enemy. Maharani, who at her one order used to get the carriages, cars and royal elephants right at service, was now in a war-affected situation, struggling hard her way to find a mode of transport that would drive her straight to the Maharaja. With a lot of hardship, with her companion Tottenham, she reached to Maharaja safely, and her composed mind took advantage of the situation where shopkeepers were selling their goods at a throwaway price. She took the opportunity of shopping. She not only brought antique crystal, porcelain, lace and furs, but also managed to send her shopping luggage through her own staff. The whole situation brought to Maharani immense amount of courage to survive on minimal modes. Many miseries haunted her: death of her sons, a daughter who was like a shadow married against her wish. She would have been broken inside several times, but she continued working for women upliftment and helped them to rise their position in the society. Maharani Chimnabai too, like the Maharaja, had strong patriotic and nationalistic predictions. She was frank about her political views. Her political inclinations could be gauged from the fact that she was very particular regarding the way she was being officially addressed, as they would definitely denote her status and power. She preferred to be addressed as Her Highness Maharani Chimnabai Gaikwad. It was after the death of Maharaja that she was addressed as the Dowager Maharani of Baroda by the British. She did not like it and requested the British not to call her by the name Dowager. Her wish was granted by the British officers. Her vision is astonishingly clear to real today, because her list of home professions for women included vocation like domestic architecture, interior decoration. Her visualization of women as intellectual, lecturer, commercial copywriter, veteran, superintendent, sanitary inspector in organization, and caterers in hotels. She emphasized that education, organization, and specializations were necessary for those women who wanted to pursue skillful career. She strongly believed that the salvation of women lies in the proper use of education. She advised Indian women to follow their Western sisters for setting up organizations. She precisely had studied and knew well what was the Indian requirement. She read books on diverse subjects like India under Harsh by Banchum, The Duties of Men by Mazzini, Rulers of India about Ashoka, The Loss of Manu, Chamber of Ruling Princes, and a service book for women, for a wife, which broadened her outlook of India. She even obtained a banned book on Veer Savarkar and got it reprinted. Maharani's inner strength was incomparable. The way she conceived her idea and marked a difference for women is testimony to her core courage. But not only did she have phenomenal inner braveness, she was very much of a sport person too. Showing a passion for physical fitness, she never left any opportunity to sharpen her sports skills. When she was in Kashmir, she learned fishing. She did not only master the sport of tennis, but also started a tennis tournament in 1916 under the banner of Maharani Chimnabai Lawn Tennis Tournament, which continued as All India Tennis Tournament. She became a member of various clubs in India and abroad. Queen's Club London gave her honorary membership, and she was also a life member of Ham and Peterson Rifle Club. Maharani met with an accident while learning roller skating in London, but that did not lower her spirit for sports. She also played badminton and billiards, the sports which were dear to Maharaja Sahib. It is today that sport matches are played in various sports attire. Maharani back then played tennis in a sari, which was her spirit. She learnt all sports showing physical courage, but her sari always remained with her, being a true symbol of Hindustanism and her deep-rooted culture. Adding to both her likeness of Western and Indian flavors, Maharani played both the tunes of Indian sitar and notes on the Western piano. Ladies and gentlemen, the AIWC's first president was an unmatched talent. Maharani's choice made her the woman of highest caliber and a fierce personality. Her personality reflected in the way she lived. I recall some incidents that I read about her. It was in 1906 when Maharani went to USA, she was interviewed by the press. She spoke about the colleges as if she was a member of the college. While just by many press persons, she did not hesitate to make her point clear and courageously said that though the Americans are far more advanced than the Indians, we in India respect others' privacy. Everyone who met her never forgot her pleasant aura, her spirit and her warm, caring nature. In 1887, when she was hardly 16 years of age, she went to meet Queen Victoria at the Windsor Castle. The Queen was, of course, impressed by her confidence and the way she carried herself. Swami Vivekananda says that I met many ruling kings in Hindustan, but I am impressed by the Baroda Maharaja's ability, patriotism, foresightedness, and energy. He also was impressed by the Maharani's hard work and advised to Miss Maclean in a letter dated 17 Feb 1901 from Belur Math that I hope you will meet Maharani in Baroda. Edward Whidden was a royal guest of the Gaikwads and lived in close proximity of the family for a year. In his book, A Year with the Gaikwads, he writes, Maharaja was lucky to have a wife like Maharani. Tottenham, a British lady who was Maharani's companion for 9 long years in between 1911 and 20, writes in her book, Highnesses of Hindustan, about Maharani's life and several important events that took place. She widely narrates Maharani's spectacular courage, her premier social structure, her fierce choice and richness, and inertness of her a loyal life. Monichandan Diamond Limited mentions that Maharani had a good knowledge to buy and recognize diamonds. She left a lasting impression on everyone who came in her contact. May it be a queen, compassionate companion, guest, vendor, or a mom. Maharaja and Maharani made all modern things in the different parts of Baroda with their experience of travel and visits to factories, museums, and school, as their dream was to have a free Hindustan.
Mandaji, sorry to interrupt you. I mean,
Thank
can
you.
we- Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. That was a lovely talk, and I'm sure the gusty woman that Maharani was, we are able to emulate, you know, what she did, and AIWC learns something. We are trying to do that. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Now, I would like to invite our
Yeah.
next speaker. She's a professor, Dr. Sunita Santosh Borde Khadse. She has done her MPhil and PhD. Her MPhil was on Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar, and in her PhD, her topic was 5-year plans of India and women's development. That's a very relevant topic. She's associate professor at the SCBC Mahila Mahavidyalaya at Sangli. She is also in the board of studies of SNDT Women's University in Mumbai. And just to tell you all, she is also a poetess. So I hope we get some more chance to, you know, listen to you, Mrs. Bode, as a poetess. Of course, maybe today we don't have that time, but maybe later on, we would love to hear you as a poetess. She has attended several national and international conferences, and her areas of writing have been, you know, rare topics like Buddhism and feminism, perspectives, Gandhi and women satyagraha, you know, social reform, gender, patriarchy, women's and women's reforms with reference to Hindu Code Bill. She has also been writing for the NCERT, and her you know, list of awards is endless, and her publications are more than 30. So it is very difficult to now quote everything here, but it is my pleasure to invite you to speak on Maharani Chimnabai Gaikwad and AIWC. I would request you to just make it 15 minutes so that we can have occasion to interact with you also. Thank you, Dr. Sunita. Please go ahead. You are muted, ma'am. Please unmute it. Thank you.
Hello. Yeah.
Yeah. Please go ahead. Can hear.
Can you-
I think there is a problem. We can't hear you, Sunita ji.
Hello. Good evening, all of you. Am I audible to you? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. You are. Please go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. Good evening, all of you. Honorable dignitaries on this digital dais, respected Mrs. Sheila Kakade, ma'am, President of AIWC, delegates participating in this webinar, respected members, officials, activists, and scholars nation who joined this webinar. I would express my deep gratitude towards AIWC, and particularly I'm very thankful to Mrs. Sheila Kakade, ma'am, who offered me this great opportunity to be with you today. I appreciate her countless efforts and perseverance in organizing this webinar on very super time topic, that is life and work of Her Highness Maharani Chimnabai Gaikwad, a founder president of AIWC. Actually, it is very difficult to speak on her entire contribution, and it's become more challenging to present it in 20 to 25 minutes. So I will try to confine my articulation only on one aspect of her life and work, that is her contribution to women's enlightenment to AIWC. Friends, as we all are very closely aware about the historical fact of Indian women's subordination, discrimination, suppression, and extreme kind of exploitation in the caste-based patriarchal society. Considering the caste factor, the intensity and the proportion of the suffering of Indian women had variations, but it's true that all the Indian womanhood had suffered a lot by various social cruelties like child marriage, like enforced widowhood, sati, combustible tonsures, and tremendous control of patriarchy on not only on her body, her minds also. And the root cause of all those worst condition was her illiteracy, because they didn't have any right to education. In those worst conditions, Indian Renaissance had emerged and played a very vital role in improving the Indian women's condition. Various social reformers, right from Rajaram Mohan Roy, Mahatma Phule, to Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, had fought a lot for liberation and right. In the colonial period of history, the Baroda state was on the forefront of social reform movement under the very great leadership of Maharaja Sayajirao Gaikwad. He was the real social crusader, and he supported women's reform a lot. He had taken a lot of efforts to educate his wife Maharani II, and consequently the Maharani Chimnabai II, previously a very shy girl from a traditional typical Maharashtrian family, had emerged, had totally transformed and developed as an Indian social reformer. Yeah. Though Maharaja Sayajirao Gaikwad has enormous political affairs and responsibilities, administration responsibilities, as well as he has to work for the various social and economic reforms of the entire. At that time, Maharani Chimnabai had totally concentrated only on one aspect of the social reform, and that is the women's reform. Her prime concerns were women's education, their economic self-sufficiency, and progression in socio-economic sphere of life. She was the social reformer, the contemporary queens, and queen among the contemporary social reformers. When Mrs. Margaret Cousins, a prominent Irish Indian social reformer, had decided to establish a common platform for entire womanhood to interact, firstly, she and Sarojini Naidu had approached to the Maharani Sahib of Baroda, and they had comprehensive discussion on the seriousness, on the necessities, and on the probable remedies of the problem for women's education. And friends, why Mrs. Margaret Cousins at very initially for the establishment of AIWC had approached to only Maharani of Baroda, when there were so many princely states at that time and there were so many kings in India, but they approached to Maharani Sahib because till that time, whole India had popularly known to Maharani Sahiba and Maharaja for their social reform movement and for their social reform patron. Maharani Sahiba was the great patron of women's education, and that's why Margaret Cousins and Sarojini Naidu had thought that she was the right person. She was the right person for the presidential chair of the AIWC, and newly established AIWC had offered their presidential presidentship to Maharani Chimnabai. She had offered her all moral and economical support to the AIWC. She was the person who had a lot of contribution in the constructing the aims and objectives and future plan of AIWC in the very initial phase of the AIWC. AIWC at that time was just like a newborn baby, just like a newborn cute baby, and Maharani Sahiba was the like an affectionate mother who was holding that baby in her palms. So her contribution in the first phase of the AIWC is very, very important. According to though she was the her that AIWC's first session held at the Ferguson College in Pune in the year 1927 was a historical event in the Indian women's history. It was a revival of Renaissance, and that's why she called it it was the call of action, a challenge to those who hold women back. The conference was a victory of enlightenment and freedom over the darkness and slavery. If we just take a glance of aims and objectives which she shared in the first session of AIWC, we can easily find out the relevance, its relevance not only to the year 1927, but also to the year 2020. But still the struggle of women's freedom is continue, and that's why the thoughts and the work of Maharani Sahiba is also continue. Actually, it is said that the history is the continuous process of interaction between past and present. It's an unending dialogue between past and present, and it's a guide to the future. So, friends, we have to retrospect our work, and we have to collect the best from the past to make our future more effective and more efficient. In that sense, the life and work of Maharani Chimnabai is very important and always the source of inspiration to all of us in generally, and particularly to the AIWC. Though Maharani Sahiba was the queen of Baroda, she was the daughter of Maharashtra, and she had the tremendous proud of that. At very first of very AIWC speech, she stated that importance of Pune city. She said that because the city Pune is the city where the revolutionary reformer Mahatma Phule and Savitribai Phule had laid the foundation of the women's education. She had quoted also the example of the great mother Rajmata Jizau, the great mother of the Maharaja Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaja. And she said that the Indian women would follow the courage of Rajmata Jizau. And she said that womanhood should not merely produce healthy bodies, but also healthy souls. And healthy bodies and healthy souls and healthy minds are possible only only for all in the healthy society. And what is the healthy society? Healthy society is the society where the freedom, fraternity, equality is possible, and which is free from the any kind of discrimination. So when she was talking about the women's education, she said that the women's education is not isolated things. It is related to the social conditions of the India. So if you want to eradicate the women's education problem, first of all, we should deal with the problem of child marriage and parda system. You might be said that that customs were gone now. So what is the point to speak on the work of Maharani Chimnabai? Friend, that's the question I would like to answer. In the current scenario, nowadays feminist scholars and feminism, we find the very recent approach of intersectionality approach that says that women's problem not deal isolatedly, because if you have to deal with the women's problems, various problems, you must consider the caste and patriarchy of the Indian society, and that the intertwined things, and this intersectionality approach, we may say that it is very recent. Maharani Sahiba had already spoke on that almost 100 years ago, and that shows her foresight of the feminist as a feminist thinker. So, friends, she don't only had the perception of the intersectionality, but she had the comparative approach. And during her various visits along with the Maharaja to the foreign countries, that perspective had widened, and she got the ability to compare the things and judge the things comparatively. When she was talking about the child marriage, she compared the custom of child marriage with the sati, and she said that the custom of sati is bad, but the child marriage is more dangerous than the custom of sati, because of sati, women had to face a terrible torture and death, but that's for a short period. But the child marriage is the lifetime misery, and so the emergency, so the immediate action should be taken, and the child marriage should be eradicated. So that comparative approach, and one of the examples I would like to quote here, she had written a book, and that book also the comparative perspective in the word perspective, Indian women's condition in the word's perspective. Actually, I'm not going to talk on that book. Next speaker will elaborate that. But here I want to share my one observation. When last year I was working on my ICSSR project, research project, and that was related to the gender history. And at that time, I visited various universities, women's studies centers, and nowhere I found any discussion about that very first comparative book in India. I was shocked. If anybody knows about that, now please let me know. I will definitely give my opinion about that. But knowing that, I was shocked that our women's studies scholars, our feminist scholars are following the Western thinkers, Western theories from the right from the Mary Wollstonecraft, Simone de Beauvoir, Betty Friedan, Shulamit Firestone, Sheila Robson, Virginia Woolf, many more followed. Why they denied? Why they such great book by a Indian scholar in Indian manner, why they don't and feminism in that. So I would like to request Ms. That if possible, please undertake the research on the Maharani Jimnabai's feminist perspective through the AIWC research cell, because it is important, it is essential to give her recognition as a scholar, and I think that would be the real tribute for the first president of AIWC. And she was a student who gives words. She always take questions than the speeches. Just Manda madam had said that she had discarded the Parda system and entered in the public function. That was not a simple thing, because at that era, discarding the Parda and the Maharani Sahiba, she was the first queen who discarded the Parda and entered and shared the same sofa in public function with Maharaj, and that was the shock for the public. And it was the not a simple incident, but it was a revolution, which followed by the various queens in India, and they also discarded the Parda. The second example of her daughter's marriage, daughter Princess Indira Raje had denied it to to the marry with the crown prince of Gwalior, and she instead of that she firmly said that she want to marry with the prince of Kuch Bihar. At that time, Maharani Sahiba had she had supported her daughter's decision, not only as a mother, but also as a very great woman and a woman reformer. So when we look at the gender equality theory nowadays, all over the feminist discourses, this theory is very popular now, right from the gender budget to gender education. Everywhere we found that theory, but we get surprised that Maharani Sahiba had already demanded the gender theory and co-education. She said that the separation of the sexes is artificial. So there is must to common education. Co-education is must according to her, and gender equality is also said the same thing. When she was, there was a system of a guard of honors in Baroda in the honor of the king, in the honor of the queen, and in the honor of the prince of the Baroda, for various royal ceremonies and for military drills. At that time, Maharani had noticed that she had less guards in her honor than the Maharaja, and for that she wanted to know what is the real reason behind that discrimination, and straight away she asked the written explanation to the military department and demanded for the equal number of guards in her honor as it equal the Maharaja Sayajirao Gaikwad. Friends, these things are not easy things that we in today's manner it is quite easy, but at that time, considering that was really the revolution. She said उनका एक मानना था कि सिर्फ रिजोल्यूशन पास करने से कुछ बात बनने वाली नहीं है. So she said that the merely passing the resolution is not enough. We have to support the any kind of the women's reform bill. We have to support that bill, and उसलिए उन्होंने क्या किया था कि जब एज ऑफ द कंसेंट का बिल आया था, तो उस वक्त उन्होंने AIWC के वो फर्स्ट स्पीच में ही कहा था कि हमें चाहिए कि हम उस बिल के सपोर्ट में सिर्फ ना कि खड़े रहे, बल्कि पूरे भारत भर में हम उस बिल के लिए सभी में जन जागृति की मुहिम चलाए और सरकार पे या असेंबली में हम दबाव डाले एज अ वुमेन्स ऑर्गेनाइजेशन की वो बिल पास हो. और मैं आगे जाके जो बताने वाली हूँ, मुझे बहुत खुशी होती है कि ऐसा कुछ हमें हिस्ट्री से मिलता है. फ्रेंड्स, द सेकंड बिल वाज द वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट बिल, दैट वाज द हिंदू कोड बिल, एंड राइट फ्रॉम द राव समिति टू हिंदू कोड बिल. आपको पता होगा कि देश भर में बहुत सारे ऐसे ऑर्थोडॉक्स वुमेन्स ऑर्गेनाइजेशन थे जिन्होंने उस बिल को बड़ी ही सख्ती के साथ विरोध किया था, और अनफॉर्चुनेटली दैट बिल कुडंट पास, बट AIWC was the one of the organization who had strongly support that Hindu bill, and I really very happy with their this work. And Maharani Sahiba had also already started the AIWCs all over the agitations and all over the propaganda for the Hindu Code Bill. तो उनका जो मानना था, उनकी एक बात थी कि नारी की सिर्फ एक जाति होती है और वो होती है उसका नारीत्व या स्त्रीत्व। नारी किसी अलग जब तक वो एक साथ नहीं तब तक उसका कोई भी जो उसके रिफॉर्म्स है वो हम वो नहीं पा सकते। तो इसलिए उनका कहना था कि नारी की सिर्फ एक जाति है। और AIWC आज भी पूरे भारत में इसी विचार के आधार पर जो काम कर रही है, उसके लिए मुझे एक उनको बहुत सारी शुभकामनाएं तो देनी ही है। और महारानी साहिबा के बारे में जितना भी हम बात करें आई थिंक उतना भी कम है। तो जाते जाते मैं कुछ कहना चाहूंगी, लेकिन उससे पहले आपसे एक रिक्वेस्ट है कि भारत में AIWC का प्रसार है और पूरे भारत में बहुत सारी शाखाएं हैं, उसके माध्यम से AIWC बहुत सारा अच्छा काम कर रही है। लेकिन आज भी कई दूर दराजों में, कस्बों में हमारी जो कुछ बहनें हैं वो जो आदिवासी पहाड़ों में, वो अभी भी शिक्षा से वंचित हैं। हमें चाहिए कि हम उन तक पहुंचे, तभी जाके महारानी साहिबा का जो स्त्री शिक्षा का सपना था वो मुकम्मल होगा। उनका जो नारी एकता का सपना था, हमें चाहिए कि नारी जो पीड़ित हो, चाहे वो दिल्ली की निर्भया हो या फिर खैरलाल जी की प्रियंका हो या फिर कोई आसिफा हो, हमें एक ही शक्ति के साथ एकजुट होके उसके लिए लड़ना चाहिए, उसके साथ खड़ा होना चाहिए। समय की पाबंदी को ध्यान में रखते हुए मैं बस जाते जाते मैंने खुद जो कुछ कृतियां महारानी साहिबा के सम्मान में संजोई है वो रखना चाहूंगी। मुझे आशा है कि आपको में आनंद आएगा। कविता का शीर्षक ही है महारानी। निखार की खुद शिक्षा से नारी की भी गरिमा बढ़ाई। निखार के खुद को शिक्षा से नारी की भी गरिमा बढ़ाई। महाराज संग डट के सदा खड़ी थी महारानी। नारी के मन में जितनी शिक्षा की गाई, हर नारी उस सावित्री की लड़ाई आगे लड़ी थी महारानी चिन्नाबाई। महिलाओं की मखमले ज्ञान ज्योत जलाई, महिलाओं की मखमले छोड़ के झुग्गियों में भी ज्ञान ज्योत जलाई। महाराज दुनिया देखी ज्ञान की नई नजर थी, निर्भर पे के सपने पे बड़ी थी भगिनी भाव का संदेशा दे के नारीवाद की गति बढ़ाई। भगिनी भाव का संदेशा दे के नारीवाद की गति बढ़ाई। जिसने जोड़ा नारी को नारी से, वो कड़ी थी महारानी चिन्नाबाई। वो कड़ी थी महारानी चिन्नाबाई। और मुझे दिया सभी का दिल से शुक्रिया अदा करती हूँ। Thanks one and all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sunita. Thank you. That was a beautiful poem, brought her out so well. Looking at the time constraint, मैं अपने next speaker in the series, सुरक्षा खोंडे जी से कहूँगी कृपया आप 5 मिनट में कर लें अपना उद्बोधन, क्योंकि हमें question answer, I'm sure we have so much to discuss. और मैं आपको ये भी बताना चाहूँगी सुरक्षा जी, आपका बोलना कि पुस्तक वो हमारी लाइब्रेरी में भी है, दोनों एडिशन हमारी लाइब्रेरी 1911 का और 1962 का, एंड इट्स अ ब्यूटीफुल। और जैसा कि सुनीता जी ने सही कहा, हिस्टोरियोग्राफी में, विमेन स्टडीज की हिस्टोरियोग्राफी में उसका कहीं स्थान नहीं है, विच इज वेरी सरप्राइजिंग एंड वन थिंग मिस्ड आउट। सो वी होप टू हियर दैट फ्रॉम यू। सुरक्षा जी का शिक्षा कोल्हापुर में हुआ है और वो आजकल यही इसी पुस्तक के ट्रांसलेशन में व्यस्त हैं, जो जल्दी ही आने वाला है। और हम उनसे महारानी चिमनाबाई गायकवाड़ जी की पुस्तक के संबंध में कुछ शब्द सुनेंगे। 5 मिनट में आपसे निवेदन, आई एम सो सॉरी टू बी constraining it like that, but please 5 to 7 minutes if you can finish, so that we can discuss so much to discuss. Thank you. Please go on. सुरक्षा जी।
गुड आफ्टरनून ऑल ऑफ यू। सबसे पहले मैं यहाँ पे थैंक यू बोलना चाहती हूँ प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ ऑल इंडिया वुमेन कॉन्फ्रेंस रिस्पेक्टेड शीला काकड़े मैडम और मेरे टीचर रिस्पेक्टेड दिनेश पाटिल सर, जिन्होंने मुझे इस किताब से परिचय करवाया और इस किताब को अनुवाद करने के लिए कहा, और इस अनुवाद को प्रोत्साहित करने वाले और इस अनुवाद को पब्लिश करने की जिम्मेदारी लेने वाले रिस्पेक्टेड बाबा भाट सर जी, उन सभी लोगों को मैं तहे दिल से शुक्रिया अदा करती हूँ, क्योंकि उन्होंने मुझे इतनी कम उम्र में इतनी बड़ी अपॉर्चुनिटी दी है। सो थैंक यू सो मच। आज का मेरा टॉपिक है द पोजीशन ऑफ वुमन इन इंडियन लाइफ। ये महारानी चिमनाबाई जी का किताब, एक किताब महारानी चिमनाबाई जी ने वुमन एम्पावरमेंट का हिस्टोरिकल डॉक्यूमेंट है, इसलिए मैं वुमन एम्पावरमेंट इस कंसेप्ट से शुरुआत करना चाहती हूँ। एक कंसेप्ट संयुक्त राष्ट्र संघ के थर्ड वर्ल्ड कॉन्फ्रेंस में 1986 में सबसे पहले यूज की गई थी। एक कॉन्फ्रेंस केनिया की कैपिटल नैरोबी इस शहर में हुई थी। 1986 के बाद एक कंसेप्ट पूरे वर्ल्ड में प्रचलित हुई थी। इस कंसेप्ट की डेफिनेशन करते हुए एक कहा गया था कि redistribution social and economic power and control of resource in favor of women is called to be women empowerment। इसके पहले 75 years पहले महारानी चिमनाबाई जी ने द पोजीशन ऑफ वुमन इन इंडियन लाइफ इस किताब के माध्यम से हम सब महिलाओं को वुमन एम्पावरमेंट का कार्यक्रम दिया था। उसके बाद 1975 अमेरिका में जनरल स्टडी अनुशासन प्रस्तावित हुआ था। 1975 में संयुक्त राष्ट्र संघ ने अंतर्राष्ट्रीय महिला वर्ष भी घोषित किया था। उसी साल को गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने भारत की महिलाओं के पोजीशन पर टुवर्ड्स इक्वालिटी रिपोर्ट प्रस्तुत की। तो ये था इसका हिस्टोरिकल बैकग्राउंड। महारानी चिमनाबाई जी महाराजा सयाजीराव गायकवाड़ के साथ अलग अलग देशों में विजिट किया करती थी। वहां के दौरान वहां की महिलाओं को देखती थी, वहां के महिलाओं का पोजीशन को देखती थी, तब उनके दिमाग में एक क्वेश्चन आता था कि हमारे देश की महिलाओं का क्या पोजीशन है, मैं उनके लिए क्या कर सकती हूँ, और उसी ने उनको ये किताब लिखने की प्रेरणा दी है। वैसे देखा जाए तो वेस्टर्न कंट्रीज में मेंस और वुमेन्स के बीच में देखे गए सार्वजनिक जीवन के व्यवहार के बारे में भारत में बहुत अज्ञान है। वास्तव में इसका अंतर का कारण क्या होना चाहिए, इसके लिए हम क्या किया जा सकता है, उसे कैसे लागू किया जा सकता है, इन सभी सवालों का जवाब ढूंढने का प्रयास इस किताब में किया है। इस किताब में बहुत सारे सुझाव भी दिए हैं। मैं आपको उनका एक सुझाव यहाँ पे बताना चाहती हूँ, क्योंकि उन्होंने क्या महिलाओं के बारे में क्या सोचती है वो आपको पता चले। कि महारानी चिमनाबाई जी कहती है, योजनाओं में महिलाओं की भागीदारी की कमी के कारण भारत में कई प्रगतिशील योजनाएं बहुत सफल नहीं होती। एक किताब महारानी चिमनाबाई जी के विचारों का सार भी प्रकट करती है। द पोजीशन ऑफ वुमन इन इंडियन लाइफ एक किताब महारानी चिमनाबाई जी ने एस.एम. मित्रा जी के सहायता से लिखी थी। तो एस.एम. मित्रा जी को सहलेखक के रूप में लेने का उद्देश्य ये था कि एस.एम. मित्रा जी भारत के हिंदू और मुस्लिम से परिचित थे, वाकिफ थे, वे वेस्टर्न सोशियोलॉजी का अध्ययन करते थे, और इसलिए महारानी चिमनाबाई जी ने उन्हें सहलेखक के रूप से चुना था। और इस किताब की अब तक बहुत सारे पब्लिशकों ने एडिशन रीप्रिंट की है। इसकी फर्स्ट एडिशन 1911 में आई थी, सेकेंड एडिशन 1912 में आई थी, और ये दोनों एडिशन लॉन्गमैन, ग्रीन एंड कॉर्पोरेशन इस पब्लिकेशन ने लंदन, न्यूयॉर्क, बॉम्बे एंड कलकत्ता इन जगहों में से निकाली गई थी। उसके बाद लो प्राइस पब्लिकेशन 1995, कॉस्मो पब्लिकेशन 2005, कलाला प्रेस 2018, इन सब ने इस किताब को रीप्रिंट किया है। और सबसे बड़ी बात यह है कि फॉरगॉटन बुक्स ने इस किताब को क्लासिकल रीप्रिंट सीरीज में से सिलेक्ट किया है। फॉरगॉटन बुक्स की खासियत यह है कि वो वर्ल्ड के हिस्टोरिकल, रेयर एंड क्लासिकल बुक को रीप्रिंट करता है। तो इससे आपको पता चलेगा कि ये किताब कितना हिस्टोरिकल है और इसका हिस्टोरिकल स्टेटस आपको पता चलेगा। ये किताब महारानी चिमनाबाई जी ने फील्ड वर्क करके 100 रेफरेंस बुक यूज करके एंड वर्ल्ड के सभी महाद्वीपों के महिलाओं के पोजीशन का कंपैरिजन करते हुए एक रिसर्च बेस्ड किताब लिखी है। एक किताब 355 पेजेस की है और सिस्टमैटिक रिसर्च के सभी निकष के पालन करते हुए किताब लिखी है। इस किताब में 19 चैप्टर्स है। मैं इसकी चैप्टर्स की आपको बताना चाहती हूँ क्योंकि आपको पता चले कि महारानी चिमनाबाई जी ने इस किताब में कौन कौन से सब्जेक्ट्स के बारे में डिस्कशन किया है, चर्चा की है। तो फर्स्ट चैप्टर है द वुमेन्स मूवमेंट। इस चैप्टर में सीता और द्रौपदी के पोजीशन से लेकर 19th सेंचुरी के वुमेन्स के पोजीशन तक इसमें डिस्कशन किया है। सेकंड चैप्टर है वुमेन्स प्रोफेशंस, आर्ट एंड क्राफ्ट, इंटेलेक्चुअल कॉलिंग्स, डोमेस्टिक साइंस, होम वुमेन इंस्पेक्टर, मेट्रोन सुपरिटेंडेंट्स, कोऑपरेशन, मनी लेंडिंग, चैरिटेबल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, थ्रिफ्ट, एंटी स्वेटिंग, रिसोर्स वर्क, वुमेन इंटरेस्ट एंड वुमेन इन जापान। इस बुक में सभी चैप्टर बहुत समझदारी से और रिसर्च करके लिखे गए हैं और ये सभी चैप्टर्स हम सब महिलाओं के लिए एक नया लेसन देने वाले हैं। चिमनाबाई इस किताब के अनुसार उतना हासिल नहीं कर पाई क्योंकि उनको उनका जीवन बिता महिलाओं की मदद और सहानुभूति की आवश्यकता होती है। वो कहती है कि महिलाएं व्यक्तित्व निसंदेह पुरुषत्व से अलग है। ये किताब उन महिलाओं के लिए भी बहुत व्यवहारिक और उपयोगी सुझाव देती है जो महिलाएं अपने लिए जीवन बनाना चाहती है और उसके लिए आर्थिक रूप से स्वतंत्र होना चाहती है, या उन महिलाओं के लिए भी जो महिलाएं समाज में कल्याणकारी कार्य करना चाहती है, उन महिलाओं के लिए भी इस किताब में बहुत सारे सुझाव दिए गए हैं। महिलाओं के संबंधित कई व्यवसायों का विश्लेषण करते हुए उन्होंने अपनी कमियां, संभावना और विचार इस किताब में दिए हैं। स्पर्धा मेथड के युग में वो चाहती थी कि महिलाएं एग्रीकल्चर, आर्टिशन, सार्वजनिक कार्यों से, होटल से, इकोनॉमी संबंधित सभी व्यवसायों से परिचित हो, ऐसा चिमनाबाई चाहती थी। उनकी क्रांतिकारी दृष्टि जैसा इनकी बुक में पता चला है कि आज की वास्तविकता के लिए भी आश्चर्यजनक रूप से हमें प्रासंगिक है। चिमनाबाई चाहती थी वुमेन्स हर बिजनेस में जाए, वहां सफल हो, यह उनके द्वारा दिए गए रिकॉर्ड से स्पष्ट होता है। विभिन्न क्षेत्रों में, विभिन्न व्यवसायों में काम करने वाली वुमेन्स के चेहरे उनके आंखों के सामने होते थे। वह बौद्धिक क्षेत्रों में जैसे विभिन्न पदों जैसे होटल मैनेजमेंट, सुपरवाइजर, आदि पर ज्यादा ध्यान देती थी। उनका विचार था जो महिलाएं अपने लिए बिजनेस वुमन बनना चाहती है, एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशन पर ज्यादा ध्यान देना चाहिए और ज्यादा कॉन्सेंट्रेट करना चाहिए। शिक्षा और विभिन्न उपयोगी संस्था महिलाओं को वास्तविक स्वतंत्रता और ज्ञान उस पर महारानी चिमनाबाई जी ट्रस्ट करती थी, बिलीव करती थी। वो कहती है कि वेस्टर्न वुमेन्स ने विभिन्न तरीकों से संस्थागत जीवन का निर्माण किया है जो कि इंडियन वुमेन्स के लिए अनुकरणीय है। उनके विचार 19वीं सेंचुरी के नारीवादी से बहुत अलग नहीं थे। उनका मानना था कि लिंग के अनुसार अलग अलग क्षेत्र होने चाहिए और मेंस और वुमेन्स की समाज में अलग अलग लेकिन पूरक भूमिकाएं होनी चाहिए। इस किताब में वर्ल्ड के बहुत सारे कमिटीज के बारे में, एक्ट्स के बारे में, एसोसिएशन के बारे में और प्रोफेशंस के बारे में डिस्कशन हुआ है, चर्चा हुई है। मैं इस किताब की यूनिकनेस एंड इम्पोर्टेंस आपको पढ़ के बताती हूँ क्योंकि आपको पता चले कि ये किताब अपने आप में कितना खास है और कितना स्पेशल है। तो ये किताब 1912 में भारत की महिलाओं दुनिया के सभी महाद्वीपों से 29 देशों की महिलाओं से कंपैरिजन करके एक किताब लिखी है। इस किताब में उन्होंने वुमेन्स के प्रोफेशंस के बारे में इंटरप्रिटेशन करते हुए उन व्यवसायों के डिफेक्ट्स, कैलिबर और पॉसिबिलिटीज के बारे में बड़ी नजर से विचार मंथन किया है। इस किताब में जैसे उनकी दृष्टि से अध्ययन किया है वह दृष्टि आज की परिस्थितियों में भी हमें मार्गदर्शक है। किसी भी महारानी ने इंग्लिश में लिखा हुआ और प्रदेश में प्रकाशित हुआ एक फर्स्ट किताब है। दुनिया भर की सभी देशों की महिलाओं के स्थिति से तुलना करके लिखी हुई एकमात्र किताब है। इस किताब में बहुत सारे प्रोफेशंस के बारे में जो कि वुमेन सेंट्रिक प्रोफेशंस है, जिसमें वुमेन्स को अपॉर्चुनिटी है, उन प्रोफेशंस के बारे में डिस्कशन हुआ है और मैं आपको बताती हूँ कि इस किताब में कौन कौन से प्रोफेशंस के बारे में डिस्कशन हुआ है। तो एग्रीकल्चर, ट्रेड, पोल्ट्री फार्मिंग, आर्किटेक्ट, ड्राइविंग, फैक्ट्री वर्कर्स, पॉटरी, वीविंग, हैंडलूम्स, पोस्टर डिजाइन, राइटिंग ऑफ बुक्स, म्यूजिक, लिटरेचर, माइक्रो ड्राइंग, नर्सिंग, कुकरी, टीचर, टी शॉप्स, होटल्स, डॉक्टर्स, रूरल एंड अर्बन बैंक, लॉयर, कोऑपरेटिव क्रेडिट सोसाइटी, होम प्रोफेशंस, केटर्स, होटल मैनेजमेंट, सैनिटरी इंस्पेक्टर, सुपरवाइजर, सुपरिटेंडेंट, प्रोफेशनल कॉपीराइटर, लॉन्ड्री, टेक्सटाइल डिजाइन, पुलिस, कारपेंटर, फोटोग्राफी, हेयर स्टाइल आर्टिस्ट।
सुरक्षा जी सॉरी टू इंटरप्ट, अगर आप हमें थोड़ा चर्चा का मौका देंगी तो उसमें हम ये डिस्कस कर लेंगे। ठीक है, थैंक यू, सॉरी टू इंटरप्ट यू इन बिटवीन। Thank you so much. Thank you. It was enlightening. Such a nice book it is. अब मैं अपनी इवेंट मैनेजमेंट की मेंबर इंचार्ज चंद्रप्रभा पांडे जी को कहूंगी सिर्फ 1 मिनट में महारानी जी के बारे में अपने वाक्य बता दें क्योंकि अब हमें और भी आगे कार्रवाई बढ़ानी है। चंद्रप्रभा पांडे जी, I think she is muted. Chandra Prabha ji.
She's unmuted.
I think we are at the end of the program. Thank you, everyone. Chandra Prabha ji, can you speak now?
Can you unmute me?
So I think you are unmuted, Chandra Prabha ji. You are unmuted. आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही. Anyway, I think we proceed. Anyone has, because there are lots of questions and comments. I mean, I am full of it, and I would request all the three speakers, क्योंकि अभी तो हमें बहुत कम समय मिला, इस काम को आगे बढ़ाएं और जो रिसर्च विंग की बात कही थी प्रोफेसर बोर्डे ने, उसको हम आगे लेंगे. हमने अपनी लाइब्रेरी में ये काम किया है और उसको आगे बढ़ाने का करेंगे. So now I would request our joint secretary. सुप्रिया भालेराव जी, जस्ट टू इन्फॉर्म एवरीवन, उन्होंने ये जो सुंदर ब्यूटीफुल इनवाइट आप देख रहे हैं, इन्होंने ही बनाया है, एज रॉयल एज द महारानी हरसेल्फ. सो वी आर थैंकफुल टू यू सुप्रिया जी. काइंडली गिव योर वोट ऑफ थैंक्स.
Thank you, Yutika, and it was a wonderful program. Here are my common vote of thanks, which I want to deliver to several people in this webinar. First and foremost, to our president, Mr. Sheila Kakde, who has shown personal interest in organizing this webinar and found these wonderful speakers for us. Our Secretary General Kuljit and Treasurer Rihana ji for their constant support. Our all the three speakers, Mrs. Manda Hingurao, Curator and Raja Fateh Singh Museum. Sunita Bode, Associate Professor in the Department of History at Mahila Mahavidyalaya, Sangli. Mrs. Suraksha Gongwe, Translator of Maharani Group, Position of Women in Indian Life. And Dr. Baba Bhavan, who is specially present here. He is a researcher and a guide to Dr. Sunita Bode. Thank you all. Light upon the life of Maharani Chinnabai in a deep manner. I thank our patrons, Mrs. Kunti Paul, Mrs. Veena Jain, Mrs. Veena Kohli, and Mrs. Rakesh Dalal, and all our able Ashita ji, Bhavna ji, Santosh ji, Neeru ji, Suman ji for joining us, all MICs and zonal organizers, and all the participants who are attending this seminar and making it a great success. All the office staff, I should not forget thanking Ritu, Pratibha, Mamta, and very special thanks to Mr. Newton of WebEx. Last but not the least, Tika Shah, our MIC NCM Library of AIWC, who is a professor of history, coordinating this meeting. So thank you all. And then I think we can, whatever time we have left with, we can take up any question and answer, Yutika ji.
Thank you, Supriya. Thank you so much. I thank everyone again. Thank the office for giving us this opportunity. Also, it was showcasing the library here and telling everyone, informing that we have so much in our library. We can go on doing this for the next presidents every year or every month, whatever efforts, whatever help the office extends. So I thank Mrs. Sheila Kakde, Mrs. Kuljit Kaur, Mrs. Rehana for giving us all the support. Thank you, everyone. All the members who have joined from far. Thank you.
Hello. It was really very nice meeting everybody. Mandata.
Yeah, now it's informal.
Thanks, Yutika. Thanks, Supriya, also. Both of you and all the participants.
I already.
You are wonderful.
Yeah. मैं सोच रही हूँ शीला जी कैलेंडर फ्यूचर में कैलेंडर बना सकते हैं, जैसे मंजू जी ने भी बोला
अच्छा
था।
ये लाइव
इस तरह
हुआ था, यूट्यूब पे लाइव था।
हाँ चल रहा था, थोड़ा
हाँ चल रहा था।
यस चल रहा था।
अब बंद हो गया?
उसका
बंद हो गया?
चेंज हो गया, लिंक चेंज हो गया, जो मैंने नेशनल ग्रुप पे इमीडिएटली डाला था।
यस यस
देखा किसी ने?
हाँ मैंने देखा था।
मैंने भी देखा यूट्यूब पे चल रहा था।
वेरी गुड।
Great.
When Suraksha was speaking at that time, I
अच्छा,
switched
you
on
can
my
see.
YouTube. No, I
I
could see
seen when
Suraksha.
Dr. Sunita was seeing, and then I said, "Okay, let me tell Kuljit at least."
Yeah, she called me up. That time I switched it on.
अच्छा, तो इसकी रिकॉर्डिंग हुई होगी ना? We can share that.
YouTube anytime you can access.
Yeah. Yes, that's a good thing. Good start for.
Vanda ji had a very nice